Welcome back to Wickerson Studios. My name is Michael Wickerson, and I have been offline, well, not so much offline, but off recording for the last couple of weeks. And what I've done is I've partnered up with a fellow that really inspired me to do Grasshopper, Daniel Christev, and I really would recommend people look at his videos. They're highly mathematical, and our kind of discussions began around kind of thinking calculus and thinking algebraically and what to do with those things. So what we've done is we've gotten together and produced some scripts in calculus for solving certain graphs, and we kind of moved towards conics. And we have produced 16 custom C-sharp plugin components for Grasshopper, which we're going to release. And what I've done here is this is kind of the tail end of it, is I've taken those 16 nodes, and they're all in need of an icon. I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to produce the icons from the icon, use the actual icon itself to produce the geometries for the icon. That's exactly what I did. So I've gone in and scripted fairly quickly with all 16 icons, pretty general geometries, all centered three-dimensionally. And once that's done, that's fairly simple. You can technically jump out of that and jump into, I believe I have another file here on my other screen. I had to go into Aviary plugin. I was starting to play with trying to export things and get them into Photoshop and other programs. And somebody online said, use Aviary, and it's actually an amazing program. And it's over here. If I just get rid of it here, move my face over, it's got some really nice techniques of working with images and exporting bitmaps and loading images, but I didn't use that. I didn't use the graphics. I just dealt with this section. Took my breps, and before we get to that, what I did was I took those forms and I put them in Rhino and I flattened them all. And in doing so, there was a little bit of manipulation. Here they are. They're all flat. And I took them to make 2D. And they ended up being breps, and I just wanted to go to the surfaces alone. So that's exactly what I chose. And they can be imported at any time. So if I chose to reference, let's say, this object, and put that into selecting the breps into this file, I can go brep the surface, which is amazing. It's going to actually appear in another area up here where I've registered it. So it'd be good if I drag this up here, because that's where I've registered my rectangle for looking at. So once that object's in there, I can reference that. You don't really need that object anymore. You could hide that in view if you wanted to, but it's been referenced in that location. And brep this, it's going to need this compose a drawing. So I took my shapes, and if you take a look in here, the shapes are coming in as one compound shape. It needs a boundary, and the boundary has to be bigger, so I made a much bigger boundary around the surface. I thought I did. Nope, I set that boundary exactly at 24 by 24. I used the width and the height of the composed drawing to be exactly the same, 24 by 24, and there's no background on it. So you can get kind of tricky. You'll see right there, there's my little pixel, 24 by 24 pixel, at size, at scale, that's relative to all the other pixels you see happening in Grasshopper. And then what I've done is I've simply exported that 22 by 22 using a drawing to bitmap, using 96, which is recommended DPI for pixels per square inch, pixels per square PPI. And then I export the bitmap, and I have this true where I can bake it to wherever I want it to go, and the file path finds itself exactly where it wants to go, which is really nice. I don't have to put the path in the name or extension for some reason. I know exactly where it wants to go. Probably because that's where I import it. I also could export this SVG for my wife who works on Mac if she was to help me in Photoshop. But that's about it. You can check all of your little tiny drawings. I couldn't find this online. Somebody mentioned, like, use this. I think it's amazing because you're actually getting a view of it. So if I go back out of here and I take that little object that was there, and I say, okay, I've used that one. Let's put it back on the shelf. That's kind of what I think about. I don't do a lot in Rhino, but this got me thinking that way. Let's grab another one. This is an interesting one, which was dealing with constructing a conic. So this is two cones, which would technically make a circle, ellipse, a parabola, or a hyperbola. We can drag that back out, and as long as we get that situated in there really nice, we can grab that form and put it in as a set multiples. And immediately we go, and we see our icon has changed, and there it is, rendered into drawing icon, and it's exportable. So this is really like amazing to me. So I'm able to then go into my files, go into my icon folder. I have them all lined up there. Now they're black on black, so you can't see them, but they're basically there and ready to go. And I think it's very interesting that I use the script of the icon itself to design the icon on that node. And that's where I know that Daniel Christev and I are getting on such a mathematical level of what we're doing. We simply ask the question, I believe it was Daniel put it quite clearly, there is no parabola node, or at least one that we could find in the vanilla Grasshopper, and we thought it belonged there. So we're going to continue our series in the limits and differentials and matrices, and the Dominion is going to be a pretty interesting group that's starting to grow, and we'll hope to have this up online in a week or two. You can check out the icons and you'll start bringing these into whatever you want to do. And of course, it's kind of nice the icons are built by the geometry of what the icon is meant to make. So thanks again for watching. 5-minute video, a little taste of what's been going on. Many other things are going on as well in my life, but this is the one that I'm pretty excited about. Thanks very much for watching.